y'all doing? It's your girl, your diva, and knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Big up to all of my subscribers, my A1s from day one, who have been a part of my journey from the beginning. I thank each and every one of y'all for still being loyal subscribers, and those of you who have recently subscribed, I welcome you to Mocha's Cafe de Paris family. So with no further ado, I definitely want to get right into today's recipe, today's topic that's on the menu: why child support laws need to be amended. Now, I already know, I'm fully aware of that. A lot of women are not going to agree with this message, and I'm sure that the majority of them will not, because truth be told, child support is basically designed to accommodate them. Child support favors mothers more than they favor the fathers. And in my own personal opinion, child support laws are very biased. They're not equally balanced. Child support laws are not designed in which both parents are equally responsible for the child's financial and emotional well-being. And because of that, I am going to break down some of the elements, some of the things that I perceive based on my own personal opinion, things that need to be amended, laws that need to be altered, policies, procedures that need to be changed within the child support system. Because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be about what is in the best interest of the child, what is not in the best interest of the mother. It is called child support, meaning to support the child, not support the mother, not support the mother's emotional feelings, not support the mother's financial obligations. It is child support to support the child. And the child support system has failed in creating the system in which the mothers are also being held accountable to also providing just as much financial obligation as the father is. Now, I am aware that in many cases, most of the time, the children are with the mother, which is possibly one of the reasons why the child support system tends to conform the laws in which they make the fathers tend to be more financially obligated compared to the mother. However, just because the children live with the mother, it should not mean that she should be less financially liable for the children's well-being, okay? Because we all are aware that the truth is a lot of people are not going to use protection. There's not going to be men that's not going to stop raw dogging women. And let's be truthful, there's going to be women that's not going to stop men from raw dogging them. So it's an equal responsibility as to why most children would not have the benefits of having both parents within the household. So that's a given. But we can't give the women a pass just because the child stays with them. That's just the way it's always been designed. Whenever a man and a woman produce a child, and this was not something they both were really prepared to deal with in most cases. Now, I know there's going to be exceptions. So before y'all come in the chat, well, we made an agreement, or he did this or he did that. I'm not caring about the exceptions. I'm just generally speaking, okay? There's exceptions to every rule. But what I'm stating is, for the most part, we know that the child is going to predominantly be with the mother, because the mother is the one who actually carries that child for 9 months. And if there was not already a solid relationship, if that father was not already living with that woman, or for whatever reason they break up, 9 times out of 10, the child is going to be with the mother. It is not so much because the mother is the better parent, but the way the laws have been orchestrated in various states, because I also want to state that all laws are not the same. all child support laws are not the same. They vary from state to state. They vary from county to county. So I may mention things in this content where you may say, well, I'm from Delaware. That is what we do. Or in Georgia, they don't allow that. I get it. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to always be right on target. Some of these policies that I may mention that may need to be amended, they're probably already amended within your state. I could only speak from the perspective of Georgia and in the general sense. So as I stated, I might mention some things that your state is already executing, or your state has already done but is no longer doing. So I get all of that. But what I'm stating is we already know the majority of the time the children are going to be with the mother. Very rarely is the child going to be with the father unless he gets full custody from the courts, or either the mother was willing to comply and not give him a hard time and allow him to get custody of the child without him having to go through courts, because she was more concerned for her child's well-being instead of her own well-being. So you do have some women out there that's woman enough to know that they're not in a good position and the father is in a better position, and they willingly will give the father custody or temporary custody until she gets on her feet. That's really though, because we already know in these day and age, these women, the most of them, the majority of them who are bitter, who are angry, they're not going to give a child to their father, even if that father is in a better financial position, even if he's in a better stable position. She could be struggling going from house to house, sleeping on sofa to sofa, dragging her children from place to place, and her own bitterness will rather have her children, go from place to place and struggle with her than to put her bitterness aside and say, you know what, your father is in a better position. Your father is more stable. I'm going to have to give y'all to your father for a while until I get on my feet. Or, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and sign over and give the father custody. Because I'm just not in a position I can't afford to take care of you. And the reason why the child support system is so lax and they giving women so much leniency is because, truth be told, the way the system is orchestrated, the system looks out for women. The system protects women. The system supplies for women. It does not matter if she's trifling. It does not matter if she's unfit. It does not matter if she's black. It does not matter if she's white. It does not matter. Unfortunately, the only way these days men could really have full custody of their children, they have to be able to prove the mother is unfit. She's damn near going to have to be cracked out, strung out on meth. He's going to have to produce a lot of receipts, like she's been gone for like 2 weeks, no food in the refrigerator, leaving the kids with the utilities off, no water, no lights. Men have to go all out their way to really prove that a mother is unfit. That is the only way the judge, the court systems is going to honor his urgency to get his children. And it's very sad, but that is the way the society, that is the way the system has orchestrated the laws in which men have to fight with teeth and nails to prove that the mother is unfit. Them stating that, I know she's not taking care of our kids, because the 1 or 2 times I went over there, my kids came back to me telling me, Daddy, we got no lights. Daddy, we've been wearing the same clothes for 2-3 days. It's a lot of men that are going through this, and they're frustrated because they have to produce some heavy receipts in order for the system to even hear them out, to even pay attention to them. Because another thing is, when it comes to these child support, when it comes to these child support businesses, the child support system, the majority of individuals who work for child support are women. That's already a big disadvantage for men, when you have to go through other women who may also have some level of bitterness because maybe they got an ain't shit baby daddy, or maybe you just have some women who just man eaters. They hate men, they resent men, and they have some of these women that have a lot of hostility towards men. You have a lot of feminists who work in these type of positions in which they know a man really has any rights. So in some cases, some of these case workers, let's just be frank, a lot of these case workers are feminists. Most men who have been on child support can tell you the majority of the case workers they deal with are women. Very rarely are you going to have men who are caseworkers, who men can talk to and relate to from a man's perspective. So I've known a couple of guys who have had female child support caseworkers who have talked to them very nasty, who have been very unprofessional, who have not made any real effort in helping them to resolve their child support cases and helping them to get a fair hearing, and as far as to what they feel they should be entitled to pay. A lot of men are already at a disadvantage because the system is already designed for women, and the truth is it's being ran by women. Okay, as far as the child support sector. Now, as far as who's over child support, the government itself, I may be a mixture of men and women, but truth be told, when it comes to the child support system, there's not enough of diversity. There's not enough of men caseworkers. So when these men have a problem, with the mother of their child, if their children are being neglected and they have to speak to a caseworker, if she's a feminist or she already has personal prejudices against men, she's not going to put her personal feelings aside and be objective and help the father, who is possibly in the right to gain custody of his children, or to fix it to where at least the mother is doing her fair share as much as he has to. So nevertheless, we already know that child support is very biased. Child support is very sexist. It's basically designed to help women out, okay? And from my understanding, again, child support is supposed to be making decisions that are in the best interest of the child, not just the mother and not just the father. The child. It's not called baby mama support. It's not called single mother support. It's not called parent support. It is called child support. And I need child support to get on the ball as far as constructing laws that will make both men and both women be held accountable and have to do their fair share. Not just men be held 80% accountable while the women be held 20% accountable. And it's a lot of unbalanced scales in the child support system. So basically, the way child support has been orchestrated, from my understanding, now I'm just speaking from the state of Georgia. Again, I know every state is different, so just bear with me. We're just going to use Georgia as an example because it'd be too much trying to intel every state across the world, because so many states have so many different protocols, and when it comes to how they established their child support laws. So in the state of Georgia, any Georgia court order issued after 1993 establishing child support amount should provide for support to continue until the child turns 18. If the child is still in high school past the age of 18, support will continue until the child finishes high school or reaches the age of 20, whichever occurs first. So, as we know, child support is an ongoing obligation until the child is 18, in some cases 20, some cases 21, or I think 23 if the child decides to go to college. So again, it varies from state to state, from county to county. So that's pretty much what it boils down to. Now I know, because it's going to always be somebody, well, women pay child support too. Yeah, but in most cases when a woman pays child support, it's been extreme evidence that she was unfit. It's never balanced fair. It's still never balanced fair because a man doesn't have to be proven to be unfit or to be proven to be an irresponsible father. Whether he's responsible or irresponsible, the child support system is orchestrated to make sure that man steps up, whether he wants to or not. Now, when it comes to women, on the other hand, women are spared more leniency. The only cases in which most women are obligated to pay child support, she was totally proven to be unfit. She was on drugs. There was a case probably in which it was reported to the police that she was physically abusive to the children, where they were able to get photos and pictures. In other words, that woman was proven. She had to be proven to be unfit. But men, they don't have to prove anything. They don't have to prove they're good fathers or trashy fathers. The state is going to make them step up. regardless of what. So let's get down to these child support laws. The way child support, first I want to start off with the way the payments are being dispersed. When it comes to payments, when it comes to the courts deciding how much the father is obligated to pay, I notice in most cases the amount is based on the father's income. But very rarely is it based on the mother's income, especially if she isn't even working or employed. The problem is the majority of these women that are receiving child support, they have figured out the strategy to avoid having to be equally responsible financially by not working, by not being employed. A lot of these women realize, and again, if it does not apply, you don't have to reply, because there's always the single mothers coming in the chat room talking greasy. Nevertheless, a lot of women have figured out the trick to avoiding having to be equally responsible as far as both sharing the equal burden financially of the child. She avoids working. She does not work. Child support is not enforcing for women to work. They're not enforcing for the mother of the children to work. Now, again, doesn't apply for all single mothers. There are some women out here who do work. There are some women out here who are helping the father equally pull their load. We're talking about the ones that are abusing the privilege of child support. Okay? So, a lot of these women know, as long as I don't have a job, I don't have to report that I'm working. They know that they can keep making excuses because child support does not hold them accountable. As for the man, he could only, his excuses are eventually going to run out like a prepaid card. They'll accept it for a little while, but eventually he's going to have to come through. Period. Point blank. Women, on the other hand, they don't have to come through. There's not a time frame. They don't make these women meet. They don't have any standards for the mothers. They don't have any requirements for the mothers to meet. These women can continuously get away with not working. And because they're able to get away with not working, this makes the father more reliable for the financial part of the child compared to the mother. And child support needs to start enforcing women to work. Okay? I remember initially it used to be when you were getting food stamps, you had to produce receipts that you were looking for jobs. You had to submit some type of documentation that you applied. You've been putting in so many applications a month. Here in the state of Georgia, they did away with that. And this is something that these child support agencies need to start doing. The same way they require these women who are working, because it's not fair to the mothers who are working as well. It's not just unfair to the fathers who have to financially provide. It's unfair to the women who are working and who are providing. So the women who are not working and not doing their financial share, the child support system needs to start enforcing for these women to work, because again, the women who work, they got to produce check stubs every so many, I think it's every 6 months, or the child support courts are so over flooded now, so I think they only have to submit information once a year. You have to submit your check stubs, you have to submit your work status. It has to be updated once a year. That way they can see if your income has changed, if it has increased, or if it has declined, whatever the case may be. But if the same way the system requires these mothers, these, which is the custodial parent, you have your non-custodial and your custodial parent. Custodial parent, that is the parent who has a child, which in most cases the women are going to be the custodial parent. And then there's the non-custodial, which is the parent that is that does not have the child as often the child does not live with the non-custodial parent, put it that way. It doesn't mean the non-custodial parent is less active or whatever, but the same amount of time the child support system takes into looking at these women's check stubs, keeping up with how much these fathers, their income, they need to place that same energy on making sure these women seek employment. That same energy in which they have these case workers running these men down, researching these men, investigating where they work. Some of these men, as soon as they get a job, they ain't been on a job within 2 minutes, and already their employer is getting notification from child support that we have to report that you work for us, so they can start deducting a certain amount out of the check. That same energy, the child support system, the same energy y'all put into making sure these men are stepping up, and the same energy y'all put into investigating anytime y'all put these men's social security number in and he hasn't even been on a job for 2 days, and you already reporting that you know where he works and he needs to make sure his employer is aware. As a matter of fact, y'all have it so locked to where child support system has a lock to where if these men have a job and they find out where these men work at, they by law, the employer will get in trouble. The employer must deduct. They must ensure that when their payroll is made, that child support is getting a cut off the top. So my question for child support, the same energy y'all put into enforcing the fathers, y'all got all this time and energy, y'all got all these resources to investigate when these men work. Y'all sending all these paperwork out to the employers, telling the employers that they have to, by law, they are required to deduct the child support out their checks. Why y'all don't require these women to work? I have yet to see it. And this is the reason why the child support system, these women are costing y'all so much money. And this is the reason why y'all are overloaded with cases, because y'all are not making women be equally responsible. Y'all are not making them be equally responsible. This is the reason why y'all have to supply and kick out so much governmental funds excessively. Y'all have to excessively supply governmental funds, food stamps, housing, all of these governmental entities. Y'all have to consistently keep supplying them, because you're not making the women be held accountable just as much as you make the men be held accountable. I'm sure if the tables were to turn and you were to start giving out documentations to these women, if you want to continue to receive food stamps, if you want to continue living in housing, you have to have valid job verification that you work at least 40 hours every 2 weeks. 20 hours every 25 to 30 hours every week. And they need to supply valid proof. Not, oh, well, I'm looking for a job, I'm thinking about finding one, while I'm working over here for my friend. They need to have valid proof, meaning they need to have valid check stubs. They need to have valid employee IDs. They need to have valid statements from these employers that they work. There needs to be a valid phone number in which you can contact. And I get it. The system is so overflooded. Well, that is why the same amount of money y'all kicking out for food stamps and housing and all of this other governmental assistance, y'all could be hiring more caseworkers. So it's not so many caseworkers being burnt out having to keep up with all of these individual cases. But the same amount of time these women have to supply this information to get food stamps, to get housing, to get child support, they can also supply information that they're looking for work. Now, I guarantee you, if there was a stipulation, if you don't find work within X amount of within 3 months, your child support will be reduced, or your food stamps will be reduced. I guarantee you the motivation will be much more different, because they know there is something to lose in the process of it. But the reason why so many of these women have become complacent and have become lazy, and this is the reason why the system, y'all have to keep supplying these women. Y'all have to keep supplying them with housing, with food stamps, with child support. The reason why y'all have to constantly keep funding them is because there is no motivation, there's no stipulation to make them do better, because they're not losing anything. If anything, the system, what y'all are doing, y'all are rewarding some of these women for irresponsible behavior. Now, how is it when men mess up and they make poor choices, regardless if they was with the baby mama or not with the baby mama, whatever the case may be, y'all don't have a problem with penalizing the men when they don't do what they're supposed to do. When the man falls behind on his child support, he doesn't pay child support, what do? Y'all penalize him. Y'all penalize him by how? Y'all suspend his license, which makes wonderful, perfect sense. The man has to go to work, falls down on hard times. Y'all know we still in the pandemic. Y'all know all of what's at stake. But y'all, but y'all are not taking into consideration a lot of people getting laid off because of COVID. A man could get injured, or and have like a temporary disability, hurt his arm or something like that, or he could find out his health is declining, has to get social security card. The crazy part is, no matter what the man goes through, no matter what the man does or don't do, the system is going to hold the man accountable. Now the women, on the other hand, they pretty much just get away with murder. They can sit up here and get knocked up every year, and there's no questions asked. There's no penalty. A man loses his job, I guarantee you, that caseworker is going to reach out to him via email, via letter. Let him know, sir, we have not been receiving X amount of income for your child since X date, and due to you not being able to meet these requirements and make your payments, it's a must that you make a partial payment and catch up, or B, make a full payment. He's given options in which he still has to come through. These women, on the other hand, they don't have any options. It's just granted to them no matter what. If a mother comes in and she's already receiving child support and food stamps for 3 kids, and she gets pregnant with a 4th, y'all don't ask no questions. The system does not place no stipulations. Y'all don't want to know why is she having a 4th child when we already got to supply you with food stamps and housing for the 3 that you have. We already we had to step in and help you get child support from your baby daddies. They don't ask no questions, no matter how irresponsible these women are. No matter how many children they continuously keep having. No matter how much these women refuse to work and go get a job, there's no questions asked. You know what they do? These women get pregnant, they just increase their food stamps. They constantly, and again, if it doesn't apply, you don't have to reply. This is not the case for all single mothers. But for the ones who have learned how to prostitute themselves through the system. And what I mean by prostitute themselves, meaning is lay with random dudes. It's the same thing. Like a prostitute is out there, giving blowjobs and doing all type of sexual favors for monetary gain. That's the same thing these females are doing. They're prostituting for governmental assistance. They're we're having sex with men unprotected on purpose, so they can keep getting benefits from the government, because the government places no stipulations. And some of these stipulations need to be enforced. For instance, when it comes to these EPT cards, the ones with money, not so much the ones with food, because we know the ones with food, you can only get food. You really can't do anything else with them, even though we know some of them are even abusing that. They selling stamps or whatever. And those who get busted, of course, they get charged with a felony for selling food stamps or whatever. But when it comes to the EPT card, meaning money, whatever the father puts on the books for the child, it goes on the card now. which is also considered an EPT card. You know how many places I've been and I went to the nail shop to get my nails done just to see a mother pull out an EPT card to get a full set gel manicure, French tip, diamonds. By the time you pay for all of these extra designs and extra accessories on your nails, it comes up to $125. And she pulls out an EPT card. Now, I've heard a couple of women get offended when I bring this up, stating that as a mother, since you're the one taking care of the child, you got every right to enjoy your life. You got every right to take care of yourself, to pamper yourself, which is true. But you need to be doing that with your own money. And this is the thing. The child support system, the government entity has spoiled these women to the point to where they have a sense of entitlement. Nobody is supposed to tell them what they should spend with their card, what they should do with their money. But the system tells these men what they should do with their money. The system places stipulations on telling the father what he can spend and how much he can't spend out of his own check. And men are dealing with it, but tell a woman that all hell is going to break loose. Now, they came out with this plan before and they never officially went through with it. Where there was some states, and I think there are a few states that have done it. I think Delaware is one. I'm not sure. Don't quote me for sure. But there are some states who have now designed it to where the EPT card with the money, the EPT cash card, it can only be used in certain places. And I think more states need to enforce that. Georgia needs to be one to enforce that. These women should not be able to take the EPT cash card and swipe it in rainbows, swipe it in the seafood buffet, Chinese buffet, nail shop. These cards should not be used in places that in which a child is not receiving what they need. These cards need to be restricted as to where the mother can use the card. Just like with an EPT food card, guess what? You can't swipe it at Kentucky Fried Chicken. You can't swipe it at Bardino Subs. You can't take the EPT card and swipe it to get Chinese food or whatever. You got to get your ass up, go to the grocery store and put food in your buggy and go shopping. That is how EPT cash cards should only be used for places in which there's items for the children that could be purchased. For instance, at a children's clothing store should have EPT card cash access. Uniform shops, when it comes to getting uniforms for children, EPT cash cards should be used there. EPT cash cards should not be used at gas stations, should not be used at light bill companies, should not be used, of course, like I said, at nail shops, at hair shops. Government needs to put restrictions on where these EPT cash cards could be used. Now, I know a lot of women are going to get in their feelings. They're going to get upset with this because, again, the government has spoiled them. The government has gave them this incentive that it's my money. I can do what I want to do with it. When in actuality, it is not your money. It is child support. It is to support the child. But because the government has not structured it to where it's ensuring the money or the funds are being used towards the child, these women don't feel like they got to answer to anybody. But the crazy part with the system, what you guys don't understand, these women have to come to y'all to get y'all to do stuff that they can't get done. They can't get the father to pay. They can't get the father to comply. So they got to come to y'all to get y'all to look for the fathers, to locate the fathers with the social security number. So my thing is, as the system, the only way y'all could avoid being over swamped with excessive cases, with these women consistently coming to y'all, needing y'all to look for baby daddies, needing y'all to increase food stamps. If y'all would place restrictions on things and put boundaries on the way things are being done, these women will start to think twice because they know, hell, if I go to them this time, they're not going to give me an increase. If I go to them this time, now it's a new policy with the cards where I can't spend it where I want to spend it at. I'm only restricted spending here, spending there. Y'all pretty much let these women do whatever they want to do. And to be honest, the system, y'all are not looking out for the best interest of the children, because if y'all were, y'all would be conforming laws and conforming policies as to which the children would benefit, not the mothers. Now, I know some mothers get offended when I say things like child support should not be used for utilities, for light bill, water bill. It's the same excuse. Well, my kids don't need to sleep in the dark. My kids need clean water. Okay, well, the way I look at it is, if you didn't have kids, you still would have had to be responsible to turn your own lights on, to turn your own water on, to have a roof over your head. You still would have to be responsible. So that still doesn't warrant you taking your child support and using it to pay utilities. That is something you should be taking care of anyway. You should be paying for it anyway. And this is what I'm saying. The child support system, all of this is y'all fault. Y'all have created a lot of monsters, and this is the reason why the child support agencies, y'all are overwhelmed. Y'all caseworkers getting burnt out. There's excessive turnovers. You got caseworkers coming and going because they're overwhelmed and they're overcrowded with all of these welfare recipients. It's the same girls coming to them every year, getting pregnant every year. Because there's no new laws being made. Y'all have no restrictions. Anything that does not have an order gets out of order. It becomes disorder. Child support system, y'all are failing the children because y'all don't have any laws or policies which make it to where these women cannot fail these children of what they need. You know how many women out here are taking the child support, getting their hair done and their nails done, and their children are looking like they're from a third world country? Their children are walking around with the same shoes from 2 years ago, with holes in their shoes, where their shoes talking to them. But yet, when you go in their apartment, they got $800 rent-a-center sectional sofa. They got a 72-inch widescreen, but their children are sleeping on a box frame without the mattress. The box frame doesn't even have a fitted sheet. It's because y'all do not have these laws conformed as to being able to restrict how these women spend the child support when they receive it. And y'all are also not enforcing the women to work. And these women, they may be trifling, but they are also smart. They know child support ain't making me work. So as long as I don't have a job, they can't make me equally financially responsible. Because child support income is based on what the mother makes and what the father makes. And if the mama ain't working and she's just lazy, not because she's disabled, not because she has some type of sickness that's preventing her from working or whatever. If she's able-bodied and nothing is wrong with her, y'all should be enforcing these women to work. That'll lighten the load on the system. That'll lighten the load on the fathers. And that'll also be fair for the children, because the children need both parents to be financially responsible. And I know you have a lot of women, well, I'm raising these kids by myself, so therefore he should be paying the majority of it. Well, my thing is, like you women always say, well, it takes two. I didn't have a child by myself. Women, why you only apply that it takes two when it comes to how you're going to benefit? But you never want to apply that analogy. You don't have that same energy when it comes down to who should be financially responsible. Y'all never say it takes two then. The narratives change when the government starts requiring the women to do just as much as the men do. You will be surprised. So that's an issue. Again, they need to restrict and limit how these women and where these women get to spend child support. They need to require these women to work so child support can be split equally down the middle between the mother and the father. Third, there needs to be a cutoff at some point. A woman gets to her third child, you don't need to be increasing food stamps. You need to be decreasing food stamps. Because at that point, she's showing that evidently, financially, she could afford to keep having babies because, as you can see, she's continuously having them. She's on child number 3, number 4, number 5. Every child she has, there needs to be a decrease. There needs to be a decrease in food stamps and child support because guess what? Children are a bill. Children are financial obligation. So if you can keep having children, that means you're not really broke. You could afford it. Because a person who knows they're financially not in a good position to keep having babies, they're not going to have babies. So every time these women get pregnant and come to you and tell you they need an increase, that should be the time you should be decreasing. Because she's basically insinuating I'm in a good financial position because I keep having babies. Therefore, I can afford them. Common sense. The system, the way y'all have these policies and procedures mapped out is trashy. It's trashy. And what y'all are doing, y'all are setting a lot of these women up for failure. Because when they come to you with their third or fourth pregnancy, and y'all do an increase, what y'all do is y'all set them up to be more lazy. Y'all set them up to feel more entitled. Then you're requiring the men to be more responsible. You're putting more burdens on them. And like I said, this doesn't mean the men should not be held accountable. Matter of fact, if we ain't even got to talk about making men be held accountable because the system, y'all damn sure gonna make sure the men are held accountable, whether they want to be or not. So I don't even have to speak and preach on that narrative about making men accountable because y'all have it designed to where the men child support system has the system designed to where the men are going to always be held accountable regardless of what, but y'all don't have that same energy for the women. So that's another thing that needs to be done. Every time these women come up pregnant, you need to decrease whatever benefits that you are supplying. I guarantee if these women knew every time they got pregnant, they was going to lose something or something was going to decrease, they would think twice. They wouldn't be out here raw dogging and smashing all type of random dudes. It's no different than like a grandmother who is constantly keeping all of her grandchildren for her daughter. It's the same thing. Know what's going to happen? She's going to continue to get more and more comfortable with leaving her kids on her grandmother. Not only that, she's going to create more children in the process to leave on her grandmother because her mother is not placing any stipulations. And she's not making her be held accountable in any shape or fashion. She's not financially contributing. She's not doing her part. All she's doing is leaving her kids. So anytime you have someone that has the advantage of being able to keep leaving their responsibilities on you, and no matter what, you're contributing, you're enabling, you're pretty much setting yourself up. You're setting that person up really for failure. You're setting them up for failure. And that's the same thing that the system does. Child support is setting these women up for failure. And this is the reason, and the reason I say they're setting them up for failure is because this is the reason why more and more children are still being created. More and more women are not coming up with a plan. They don't have a plan. They don't have any goals. Their goals is to keep getting over and to keep getting by because they know that no matter how many poor decisions they make, is going to boil down to the system is going to catch their back. Child support is going to make sure these men do their part, whether these women do their part or not. And that's a big problem. The child support system does not make these women be held accountable at all. Child support also needs to ensure that these women have future plans. In other words, they don't need to make this permanent. They don't need to make this permanent. Back to my analogy, for instance, if a mother is constantly keeping her daughter's children and that daughter is not contributing to that mother for helping her, she's not giving her any money, she's not leaving her any food, she's not making sure the kids have clean clothes or whatever before she leaves her children there, and that mother keeps her grandkids no matter what, then guess what's going to happen? She's going to continue to keep having more children. Because again, the mother is not holding her daughter accountable. And that is exactly what the system is doing. Y'all are not making these women be held accountable. There needs to be a cutoff point. When it gets to their third child, it needs to be a cutoff point in which, no, we're no longer going to assist you with locating the father of your child. We've done this twice already. Or if you're going to assist her, you need to charge her a fee. Because evidently, again, if a woman can keep having children, that means she's not broke. She's not in a struggle. Anytime a woman is still having children, knowing she don't have money, then evidently she has the money. So when these women come to you on your third, fourth, fifth, y'all need to start charging them a heavy fine, a heavy fee. And I'm not just talking about filling out no $25 application, because in the state of Georgia, when a woman finds out she's pregnant, she's had a child and she wants to file child support, all she has to do is pay $25 for an application fee. No, not only y'all need to charge them $25 for the application fee, y'all need to charge them a hefty fine fee of $500 or higher fee just for locating the father, because that is time. That is money being taken away from y'all. For every child's father that you have to help these women find, y'all need to charge them at least $500 or higher. Because y'all are using y'all sources to help her with something that she should be able to do. I mean, really, really think about it. That's terrible when you have to get somebody to do something that you should have been able to do. How is it you can lay down with a man unprotected, but now that you need help, there's no cooperation in that? But I guarantee if you knew, even if you knew he was going to be an ain't shit man, just the fact that you know child support is going to help you, that makes these women even more comfortable. If they knew they had to pay a larger fee, a larger fine, that alone is going to make them think twice. Shit, if I get knocked up and I can't get this fool to step up and do what I need him to do as a father of my child, I'm going to have to turn around and pay $500 to get child support to help me. Y'all, child support system needs to increase fines for women who need help or assistance locating the man who they allowed to raw dog them. Not as it only makes sense is they're profiting off of y'all by increasing the stamps, by being able to be eligible for housing. So why not spread? I mean, why not enjoy the wealth yourself by charging these women more money, increasing fines, to help locate the father. A lot of these child support laws need to be amended. Down to if these mothers are not following through with visitation. I know some men who are paying child support, and these women are still not doing what they're supposed to do as far as visitation. These women are not complying with the court orders. They're not allowing the children to go to their fathers like they should be, because she's mad, she's in her feelings, or she's going through something or whatever. So if she's not following through her visitation, y'all need to start charging these women a fine for every day she neglects not allowing that man to get that child when it is court ordered. You need to charge her a fine. We already know that in most cases when they don't follow the court order, you know, they're notified of it, but these women really don't get no real severe penalty for doing that. Y'all don't really bring y'all don't bring that drill. Child support does not bring that heat to these women who do not do what they're supposed to do. But these men, let them mess up one time. Let them not follow court order one time. Y'all gonna nail them to the cross. Also, other child support laws that need to be amended. If she has gotten married, the child support needs to decrease once she has gotten married. Now, hold up, pump the brakes. I know a lot of y'all are going to say, but wait a minute, that is still his child. That is still his child. What I marry, who I marry, shouldn't have anything to do with him contributing. I agree with that. He still should contribute, but he should not contribute as much. Because you're married now. You have a man in your life now. If you feel comfortable to marry a man and you actually have married this man, one would think you wouldn't marry a man that's in the struggle. You wouldn't marry a man that is not already seeing that you got children from other men or whatever the case is. I feel like once a woman who has gotten married, yes, the biological father should still be responsible, but they need to go by that man's income. Because now extra income is in that household. Because think about it. Let's say if the mother is not working at all, but she's married to a man who owns his own business or is making money, and this man is still paying the same amount of child support a month, how's it fair? Because it's not the fact that she's married. It's the fact that now that she is married, there's extra income coming in her household. And guess what? Her husband, if he loves her, if he doesn't mind stepping up, being a step-up stepdaddy, he shouldn't have a problem with having his income count as such. And it should be split down the middle. Because once you marry, two come as of one. There is no what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. If a man knows you got 5 or 6 crumb snatchers and he still want to marry you, guess what? It is what it is. Once a woman marries her partner's income. Because again, if the man is already paying child support, now if the man is already with a woman, her income shouldn't count, because guess what? That man was already paying child support. So if that man is making if the man who's paying child support is already following his court order, they can't really coincide and add his wife's income. But if that woman was a single woman or whatever, and she marries a man, guess what? Two to come together as one, and she didn't have money all this time, but she's married to somebody who has money, his income needs to count. And again, this is not to exclude the biological father. This means that the income should be split down the middle. Also, if that child has moved out of that home, staying with an aunt, staying with a friend, or maybe that child got pregnant and she done moved in with her baby daddy, no man should still be paying for a child who is not residing with the mother. A lot of y'all are doing that. A lot of these women are receiving child support for children that are not even in their care. Child support does not take into considerations that these women lives can change so many times within the duration of them getting child support. They can get married, their child that they were receiving child support from is has moved out of their home. And what about these women who receiving child support and their own child is now having another child on the way? Me personally, I feel that once a child has a child of their own, they are no longer considered an adult. This is just my opinion. I don't think nobody should be paying child support for a child who is in the process of becoming a parent themselves. Because to me, once a person has a child, you are no longer a child. You have become an adult. Plenty of men I know that are paying child support for children who got kids of their own. I think that when a person has a child, they are no longer a child. They are an adult. I don't care if they had that child at 12 years old, 13 years old. Once you become a parent, you are no longer perceived as a child. Child support laws, they don't take into consideration that the mothers are receiving income from for children who got children themselves. There needs to be a cutoff period. But certain things happen, it changes the dynamics, so therefore the child support needs to change. Also, if that child has had too many run-ins with the law, that son has been in and out of juvenile. That daughter has been in and out of the county jail. Evidently, this proves the mother is not responsible somewhere. Why are y'all still contributing to mothers that aren't being responsible? Their children are constantly in and out of the correctional system. Because basically, child support, what y'all are doing is y'all are again enabling a woman who's receiving income for her children, but she's not being a mother to her children. Anytime you have a child in and out of prison, in and out of jail, because they robbing, they stealing, violating probation, or worst cases, aggravated assault, murdering. You know how many young men are in prison and in jail, and some of them are still receiving benefits. The mothers are still receiving welfare benefits from them, housing benefits from them. Now, in some states, when they find out the child is in juvenile, they cut child support off immediately. A lot of the fathers don't know this. But if you have a son or daughter in juvenile, you need to get a hold of that juvenile facility, talk to the counselor, and the counselor is supposed to report it to child support, or they're supposed to give you a notification stating that we have your child in our custody. Because the stink about it, the state is the one that provides you with the child support, that provides you with the housing. So once that child gets locked up or detained in juvenile, the state is taking care of that child. So the state should not still be providing for the child when the child is under state custody now, because they're in juvenile. They're in the county jail. Also, women who have had children who have violated housing, they need to lose their benefits. Basically, these hood terrorists, these children that are running around in the projects vandalizing property, constantly, bullying other kids in the neighborhood, having to get put off the school bus, having to walk to school because they're basically like little terrorists. They're the neighborhood, bullies. Any woman who has children and is receiving governmental assistance and her children are undisciplined, causing havoc in the neighborhood, she needs to lose her benefits. She shouldn't be receiving anything, because she's already costing the housing unit by them having to repair everything her children's destroying, or the fact they're physically assaulting other kids in the neighborhood who's going to have to get medical care. Anytime you have women who have children that are off the chain, or neighborhood terrorists, neighborhood bullies, gangster wannabes, whatever you want to call them, they need to lose their child support and all their other housing benefits. How can you sit up there comfortably in your project housing, knowing your children are going around here vandalizing property, spray painting on walls, beating up people's kids? Child support, housing has several reports of police coming out there having to address this parent more than one occasion, but yet she's still receiving benefits. You can't discipline your children, you don't need to receive benefits. It's terrible. Again, the way these child support laws are set up is very biased. They're not looking out for the best interests of the child. Because let's face it, every mother who has custody of her child, it does not mean she's a mother. It does not mean she's a responsible mother. That's the best way I can say it. A lot of these women are having multiple children because they know no matter how many children they have, you, the child support agency, y'all are going to keep enabling them. Y'all are going to keep supplying them. The more poor choices they make, the more opportunities they're going to take. You have no stipulations. You have no boundaries. There's no rules. And the rules that y'all have in alignment is not enough to make sure these women are not still going out here having multiple children from multiple men. Should be a requirement for these women to get on birth control. Child support should require women to get on birth control. Now I know due to the rights of women, this is not something they can enforce. But guess what? Child support, y'all enforcing everything else. That woman needs to produce receipts that she's actually receiving some type of birth control, a medical documentation. And guess what? She reneges and get it taken out behind your back or whatever the case is, and she doesn't fall through, then guess what? You still can cut off because she provided you with receipts that she was receiving something. And if there's a oops, she gets pregnant anyway, or again, she goes behind your back and get it removed or stop taking her pills or whatever, guess what? We still have to cut you off. Because you provided us with medical documents that you were receiving this. And even though you still got pregnant again, whether if it was at your fault or not, we still cannot increase your benefits. Even if you don't want to cut them completely off, you need to reduce the benefits, reduce the privileges by constructing stricter policies and procedures. I guarantee you, how is it if women see her baby daddy posting that he's getting extra money, or he's posting that he started his own business? She can screenshot that information, take it to the caseworker, and y'all are on it like white on rice. Now, there was a situation recently in which there was a young man who was paying child support, and it actually kind of went viral. I can't find the post, but if I do find it, I'm definitely going to reiterate on that as well. And he basically had multiple screenshots of his baby mama doing hair on the side on Facebook. She's posting that she's doing hair and how much she charges her clients. She charges her clients $150 for every hairstyle. Not only that, he was able to produce receipts that she's getting multiple people um to schedule appointments, which means for every person that she scheduled, and if her price is 150, well, you multiply that by the amount of people who heads she's done. Guess what? That's income. Income is income. Whether she work at Walmart, whether if she doing Kiki hair in her kitchen. Don't you know a lot of women got mad and they felt like this dude was being thirsty all because he wanted his child support reduced? That's what I'm saying. Child support, y'all have made these women become entitled because a lot of the women was going in on the comment section saying, how dare he? He's so thirsty. He want to pay a little bit of money. He only want to pay. Well, women, truth be told, y'all want more money. Let a man post he start a new business. Let a man post he's making more money painting houses. Y'all scream, y'all doing the same thing. See, this is what I'm saying. It's the pot caught in the kettle black. When men do it, he's weak. He's not a real man. He's trying to avoid his responsibilities. But when women do it, when we do it, is no problem. Women screenshot men information all the time and take it to the caseworker. This man has so many receipts that this woman was making extra money outside of what she reported to child support. All of these sisters came flooding up his page, calling him weak, saying he ain't no man. And what she do with her money is none of his business. Wait a minute. What? Really? But child support makes it their business to know how much these men are making. And this is the reason why I'm constantly bumping with sisters and falling out with women, because it's this double standard. We want to put it where we want to put it at. It's all right as long as it's women, content creators that are capable for women and saying, yeah, take him for child support. Drill him, sis. Drag him, sis. Take him to the court. Ask for modification. But when these men start doing the same thing, y'all want to challenge a man's masculinity and put him down and say he's not a real man, all because he's able to produce receipts that you are not being truthful. You getting money from XYZ, you get money from all over the place. But if a man calls a woman out, he's less than a man. It's this double standard. Dude had all these receipts. And guess what? He had every right, because women, we do it. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. But when we do it, oh, we got a reason for why we do what we do. We justify and why we do what we do. So yes, this guy, because I was able to pull it up. Yeah, he got several screenshots of this woman making extra income. She got on her YouTube page. She does hair, she babysits, she sells hair, she cooks dinners, and whatever else she has to do to bring money in. So he screenshotted this, made a copy of it, indicating that, look, this was Facebook page stating that she does make extra money. Because guess what? Child support expects anytime a man is bringing in any type of extra income. If a man is working 2 jobs, he can't just report that one job. He got to report 2 jobs. So ladies, where's the double standard at? These sisters are fuming mad that this man is calling his sister out. Now, one sister did say a child deserves to be financially supported by both parents. And guess what? The more she makes, the more he has to pay in child support, which is crazy. So he also screenshot, like I said, that she does hair and she put her prices. So he has on the side of the picture that he screenshotted, he wrote, Derica has been doing hair as her primary and only job since I met her. She has been consistently been doing hair on a regular sense. My stepdad and I made her a salon in her bedroom. Facebook will show you she's been doing hair since 2013. So this man is producing a lot of receipts. Now see, let's see what the women got to say about it. Right. Who needs those people who hate us when we can keep the money in our own communities? What these women not understanding, it's not about you keeping money in the community. You're making extra income and you're not reporting it. But the father, they got to report everything they do. This is what I'm saying. A lot of these women, they want to be able to bend the rules. And it is child support agency. It is your fault why these women feel entitled and why they see nothing wrong with it. So other comments, I'm not going to read every last one of them. Let me see. He invested in her business, so I don't know what is the story. Well, he did state it that he helped her to get that salon built on. And he noted every last one of them. Also, let me see what else he has here. Yeah, she's bragging how blessed she is. She got on here, I could be broke with no penny to my name. I could have $0, but you put this in my hand, I could show you how to make zero go to 200 in about 4 hours. So she's putting on her Facebook post how ambitious she is, how she knows she can make money. She knows she has it in her to make money. She got on here how much she's charging. She charged her client $190. Did she report that to child support? I doubt it. He wrote with a picture with all the hairstyles she did. He wrote on the side she does multiple people's hair. But Sunday her places, on Sundays, okay. Her prices start at 100, depends on the style. Her prices start at 150. Derica has constantly stated how much she starts her prices for the braids. I can't see, understand what you say here. I have stapled this to the paper. So basically, he played it smart because women do it all the time. He sees that she has proof on her social media that she's making all of this money, and you know that she's getting this extra income on her prices. Again, he also has a post where it shows all the dates that she are booked. He has there, shows the months and days in each month you can book for her to do hair. The days with the lines through them have been booked, and she has days that you can still book during this month. She makes way more money than what she's reported to the prosecutor. I mean, this dude got it down to the T. That's crazy. But nevertheless, this just goes to show you how unfair and unbalanced the child support court system is. They are privileging women who make poor choices by supplying them with housing, with food stamps, with child support. That's not being split equally between both households. And this is the reason why majority of men are so resentful towards the system. I don't even think it's so much the fact that they got to pay. I think most of them, in some cases, and some dudes are just deadbeats, so they're not going to do anything, period. But for the most part, I don't think it's so many men who have the issue with the child support. It's the issue, I mean, paying the child support is the issue that the women are not being held to the same standard. They can get away with not paying nothing or very little. Child support needs to be split down the middle. Both parents, it took both parents to have that child, so therefore it would require both parents to equally be financially obligated to the child. If the child support order is $500 for the man a month, it needs to be split to $250. If this woman is doing hair, she has another hustle, she's selling lingerie, legal or illegal, with the business license or not. If he can prove that this woman is making money in other ways that she's not reporting, child support needs to acknowledge that. Child support needs to have a cutoff period for these women who keep getting pregnant every year. There needs to be a stipulation. Just like, no different than you going to a loan place getting a loan. You get your first loan, and they give you the money. You pay on that loan every month. You turn around and you invest in something else. You need a second loan before you even paid your first one off. That's how it is with child support. You're already helping with the first child, and they turn around and get pregnant again, have another child, turn around and get pregnant again, and have another child. And this is the reason why the child support system is overloaded, because for every child that's being produced, that's a whole nother case. That's more money the child support system has to put out to relocate the father. Every month that the father submits money, they have to process those funds to the mother. All of this costs us money. If child support will place more stricter emphasis, more stricter policies, rules, and procedures on the mother, I guarantee you, child support agency will have less problems. So anyway, I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. I know a lot of women are not going to be pleased with this content. I know a lot of them are going to come in the comment section talking greasy. I know I'm going to have trollers that's going to get disrespectful. Again, this is mostly for the women who depend on the child support. They're going to get the most offended. Single mothers who really ain't been able to do it on their own without a man, they're going to get offended. Most of them are going to get offended because they have had their way so long with child support. They have had their way so long with the system. So for the system, for anybody to encourage the system to change anything, it's automatically going to cause a lot of these sisters to feel some type of way, because it's been so easy for them. This has been their way of survival. Child support is a lot of their hustle. Child support is a hustle. Child support is a struggling woman hustle. One thing to get child support because you really need it, and you know the father is just not doing anything at all. But let's face it, a lot of these women are filing child support not specifically because it has anything to do with the child. In most cases, it has to do with the man is not giving in and doing what she wants him to do. So because of that, if he has moved on, he has another relationship, he's married, he's making more money now, he's in a good place, especially if she's not in a good place. She's going to use child support as a weapon to get what she wants. Because again, child support system, they have made it so easy because they don't really do their research. They let these women come in their office with their kids joined to the hip saying, I need child support increase, and that's it. There's no questions, there's no stipulations, there's nothing. And this is the reason why things have gotten so far out of hand. They do not hold these women accountable for anything. They don't account them to anything, they just enable them. So anyway, leave your comment below. As long as it's respectful, I will leave it. You talking greasy or you trolling, I will remove your comment and I will block you from having access to my channel. You want to make a new troll account, that's fine. But if you start talking greasy with your new troll account, I'm gonna block that one too. So I'm open to different opinions, different perspectives of whatever the case is, but we're gonna do it respectfully over here. So anyway, before y'all leave, please make sure y'all give me that thumb up before you exit the stage. Anyway, you should leave it. Acknowledge Lady Mocha. I'm gonna always put it before you put the truth. I'm gonna always bring